Hello everybody, it's finally Richie with another Vinyl Finds video. This one's brought to you by Crystal. This is actually my first beer in probably about a month. I actually worked 25 days in a row. And if I'm working, I don't drink. Some people say, man, 25 days in a row, that's pretty extreme. One of my co-workers, he's taken this weekend off. He worked 62 days in a row. So 25, that ain't nothing. Anyways, I got a wide variety of stuff, mostly used, 2 brand new albums, some 7 inches, and it's just all different kind of stuff. I'm going to start with the most obscure one, probably, St. John Green, a Psych album from '68. I loosely call it Psych. This is a band from LA. I believe they might have been a transplant from somewhere else in the country and moved to LA. This was produced by Kim Foley. Kim Foley and his sidekick, a younger, Michael Lloyd. This band is really good. They broke up shortly after this album, and I think it's probably because of Kim Foley. He was a shyster. And this is all original songs, except for 3 were written by Kim Foley. And one of the originals is Canyon Women. And Kim Foley was pushing this as a canyon music. And there's like old interviews of him saying that, there's this new scene. Everybody's leaving the record industry and all the record executives, and they're moving up to Topanga Canyon, and they're escaping the music industry. And he was saying this is probably going to be the best band. I mean, there were a lot of musicians that did live up in the canyons, but the thing he was trying to create is it's a false narrative. I mean, Kim Foley is in the middle of the pushing the record industry, and I mean, after this he did the Runaways, and then he was involved in the punk scene in the early 70s or the late 70s, the early punk scene. And he was even on the Tom Snyder show. When he shows up and he's all dressed up like a punk, real narrow tie. And so, he just went with the flow, and whatever he thought was going to be the hot thing, that's what he was. And at this point, he was a canyon person. And the write-up back here is pretty funny. I like to think that the magic of the canyon inspired the magic of St. John Green. Well, I don't believe that's true. And I think it's all bullshit written here. As far as the music, though, it's really good. This one guy, Vic Sabino, the singer, he thought of himself as a poet. So there are a couple of songs where it's basically poetry with kind of this eerie organ behind it. So there is a little bit of talk and stuff with set the music. A lot of references to religious references, Satan, God, and I mean, just the name of the songs is Devil in the Sea, Do You Believe? Do You Believe is probably the one song, it's kind of a goofy song. It kind of reminds me of Country Joe and the Fish, their ragtime beat thing. And for me, that song isn't all that. I mean, it's not bad. There's not really a bad song on here. Messages from the Dead, Help Me Close the Door. I believe that song he's going to these 7 levels of hell. And at the end, he's praying. He's getting on his knees and praying to God. And it's, it's a good album. It's not a great album. It's one of the better Kim Foley albums I've ever heard. So it's got me interested to maybe check out that Kim Foley Psych album. I don't recall the name of it. Deadwax66, in your comment, maybe you can leave me the name of that, because I know you have shown it. But yeah, this is worth picking up. It's on Flick Disc. Very cool label. And yeah, I'm happy with that. Now the next record is one of, well, it's a King Crimson album that I no longer have. It's Islands. This is the US version. It's got a little dirt here I can clean up with a pink pearl eraser. You know, I used to have a UK version of this where on the cover it's like a, I don't know, it's like a kind of a darker, and it's like a photo of space, like the galaxy or something like that. This came out in 72. It was recorded in 71. And this is the actual lineup that I saw when I saw King Crimson in August of 71. I really like this album. It's got some sax, really out there, jazzy sounding sax. The guitars by Fripp are always great. And the vocalist, Mel Collins, he does a really good job. This was the only one King Crimson album that I didn't have, and I don't have their first album, In the Court of King Crimson. I mean, when I find a good copy of that, I'll pick it up. In fact, I might even just go the reissue route of that. I know everybody cites that as the great King Crimson album. For me, it's not the best King Crimson album. In fact, I like their second one better than the first. The first album, though, the album cover art is fantastic. The first song is just like 20th century schizoid man, is it? Just like hard hitting. I go, man, this is going to be great. And then it goes into this Renaissance whimsical crap that I'm not really a big fan of. If I remember right, there was another song that I liked on that first album. But I don't know why I'm talking about that. This is Islands. Great album. It's not their best, but I like this era of King Crimson. Like I said, I saw this lineup in August of 71. The US version on Atlantic. I kind of fell asleep during their show. It was like 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning or something when they came on stage. And I know I wasn't awake for the whole thing. But I do remember Promenade Woman, is it? Yeah, Formentera Lady. And I do remember Sailor's Tale. So I mean I do remember them, but I think I was asleep and I woke up, maybe. Next one, Jack Bruce. But anyways, yeah, I got to see King Crimson in 71. Pretty cool. Next one is Jack Bruce, Things We Like. This is a jazz album. This was actually Jack Bruce's first album he recorded. The record company did not want to release it, and they held off. And it was actually the second album that was released. This is fantastic, man. It's with John McLaughlin, John Heisman, and Dick Hextall Smith. Those two were both from Coliseum. But yeah, this is a fantastic, good jazz album. I dig this. I don't listen to jazz as much as I used to. In the 72-ish, I started getting into jazz because I was kind of bored with rock. And this was one album that my cousin had. I never had this. It does have some damage down here, but just like the other two albums, this is the original inner sleeve. The vinyl is near mint, excellent, whatever no, really not even scuffs on these. Now the fourth one, I believe, yeah, is Jerry Garcia's first solo album. I think this came out on Record Store Day a year, maybe 2 years ago, and I picked this up relatively cheaply. It's a cut corner, so I don't understand why they release stuff like this for Record Store Day. I mean, there's a demand for it, so that's why, but I don't know why people, I mean, I'll watch their Record Store Day videos, and they're showing Bruce Springsteen albums, Fleetwood Mac albums, this album that kind of common albums that you can find really good copies of. But yeah, this is a good album. It's side one sounds like Grateful Dead, and I believe Grateful Dead performed a lot of these songs in concert, after the release of this. Side 2 starts off with more of an instrumental, experimental stuff. It's not jazz, but I don't know, it's like a mixture of kind of jazzy and Eno instrumental stuff. It's really good. It's not what you would expect. I think Jerry Garcia plays almost all the instruments on this. It comes on this original inner sleeve. Mazzy just did a video on these, let me show the label real quick. Warner Brothers, green label, so that's really cool, original. Yeah, Mazzy did a video on these Warner Brothers comps that they used to release back in the day. And I had this one, Songbook and Record Show. I remember you would mail in like $2, something like that, and they would send you this in the mail. I had a couple of other ones, but they weren't these. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's really a good album. Like I said, I think 4 or 5 of these songs, the Grateful Dead would become staples of their live show. This next one, speaking of live shows, Savage Republic Live Trek. This is recorded on their tour, 85, 86. This is a LA band, industrial, post-punk, I guess you would call it. Bruce Litcher, he was the bass player of LA's Wasted Youth, which was a punk band. And I believe he's the one that started this label, Independent, what is it? I don't know. Oh, this might not be on the independent one. Anyways, Savage Republic, dude. If you're really into, anybody out there that's into original sounding, you're not into Boston REO Speedwagon and you like more of an indie band type of thing, and you run across the Savage Republic, give it a try. If you like the experimental stuff, I think you're going to like them. I haven't listened to all this. I sampled it, and it's really good. Fantastic. I mean, I don't have anything by this band that I think is bad. And yeah, that's their kind of their logo, their flag there. And it's a double album, and it's on these labels here. Really cool. Savage Republic. There's probably gangs of YouTube videos of this band. I saw him at the I saw him a couple of times, but I remember the first time I saw him was at the Anti Club. And as they set up the stage, they were setting up these like 55 drums, and other stuff, and the percussion player was just banging the shit out of just different stuff on the stage, and just really tribal drum sound. It was fantastic. Now I'm going to show the singles. And I'm going to segue into this 7-inch I found. Savage Republic 7-inch. This is on the label that they found. Independent Project Records. And this is number 1054. Fantastic. These are all hand silk screened. I believe Bruce Litcher, the bass player, is the one that did all these labels. And yeah. Or all the album art. But yeah, this is really cool. It's had this insert. It's 3 songs. Tragic Figure. Their first long player, or their first album was called Tragic Figures, but that was not this song was not on that album. The Empty Quarters, I don't believe, is on that album, but I know this song here, The Ivory Coast, is on their first album. But these are different versions. In fact, all these songs were recorded first take in various parking structures at the University of California at Los Angeles, March through August 1981. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. I mean, recorded in the parking structures at Cal State LA, which is the college that I went to. And again, right here it says it's number 1054. Really good sounding. I highly recommend Savage Republic. Now, of these singles, this is probably the band that's going to be the most well known. Flocks of Pink Indians, New Smell, and I believe the new Smell is a reference to nuclear power. It's on Crass Records, and it looks like a typical Crass record release. It's got all this stuff, anti-government stuff, and veganism stuff, typical stuff. They sound a lot like Crass. I don't think they're as good as Crass. The vocalist is definitely not as good. In fact, this is produced by Penny Rimbaud from Crass. But yeah, really good. I'll take Crass any day, and it's got a picture here of some pigs. I don't think you're going to make that out, but this is called the pig side. And this side, it's got some pork chops on a conveyor, and this is called the bacon side. The next 7-inch is another experimental band, Monitor. LA band. I believe this band had ties to Downey, California, where I lived at the time. This one, I didn't say, but I think this came out in 81. This one came out in 82, maybe. I don't know. It was recorded 81. Recorded live. I think I said that. This one, fantastic stuff. Monitor, the last video I did, which a lot of people didn't watch. Monitor's on this album that I showed, Darker Scratcher. A lot of experimental music from LA. And yeah, this is a 7-inch I found of them. It's called Beak and Pet Wedding. It's this song has some vocals by what's his name? Boyd Rice. Pretty cool experimental stuff. I don't know what else to say, you know. I think this is on YouTube. The record, very plain looking. And on this side it's got a globe with a little face in there. And it came with this James Mason glossy, which is pretty cool. And on the back, World Imitation Products. It's got a Northridge address. This next one is a more fatty or a more fatty, I don't know. This sounds like Public Image, their second album, that post-punk sound. All songs are written and performed by Amaury Perez, so it's one guy performing these 4 songs. It's from New Jersey. I don't know when. Let's see here. 1984. Very plain labels. Just probably a self-release thing by this guy. Pretty cool little 7-inch band I never heard. I picked it up just because of the cover, the art. And the last 7-inch is this one. I thought the band was named Dog, but this is the name of the band. It's Cheveu, Cheveu, I don't know. And this record company is from Sacramento, California, so I assume this is probably some punk band from Sacramento. They're actually a French band, and side A is Dog, and side B is Make My Day. I guess this is a U.S. release of theirs. It's on SS Records. It's kind of a new wave punky band with some really primitive sounding keyboards. Really good guitars, and it's a good single. Now, the last 2 are the 2 brand new albums that I bought. I bought this comp from the Dwarfs. They have 2 of these. This is their early years, Lick It, 1983 to 86. Really cool. It turns out I have a lot of the songs on here on a 12-inch that I have. They do have another, it's a double album. They do have another comp. I'll probably pick that one up next time I go to this store. But yeah, very cool. The Dwarfs, Lick It, their early stuff. I like the early stuff by the Dwarfs. And very plain labels. I think both albums look like that. And the last new album I bought, I just got it. It's the Sex Pistols. It's 76 Club Burton on Trent, recorded live September 24th, 1976. I picked this up. I didn't even know this existed. James Cottle. I think that's how he's the dude that had the misprint Pink Floyd. I don't watch all his videos, but I will. He shows a lot of box sets, and I'm not really into box sets. But I will watch one if he shows a band that's interesting. And he showed a box set, CD box set of Sex Pistols live gigs from 1976. And he said that the quality got better. Like disc 1 was the worst, and disc 4 was the best quality. This is the disc 4 gig. It turned out the disc 3, I have that one on album. It's recorded in a prison, and the recording quality on that one's very good. So I figured this would be very good too, and it actually is very, very good. My only complaint is the packaging. I don't know, man. The album art, it doesn't do the record justice. I mean, it doesn't look like a Sex Pistols record, does it? I mean, right here it says Sex Pistols. You can barely read it. This is the sleeve. 76 Club Burton on Trent, September 24th, 1976. It's got the track listing, who played. It's all the original guys before Sid. And that's the sleeve, but they did package it in this sleeve, polyline sleeve, really nice. And the labels are the same as the sleeve. But yeah, very cool. Added another Sex Pistols album. I mean, what, they released one album. I probably have a dozen, you know. They released one album when they were in existence, and I probably have 12 or so. Anyways, take care. That's all. Go have a couple more beers. Watch the Dodgers later. Haman video, his contest winners. He just put that up. Go check that out.